James, we'll come to you. Thank you, James.
Richard, no one's giving you much of a chance. Can you utilise that? Can you use that in your favour?
I think we're just concentrating on ourselves and making sure we get a performance that we would like to be proud of. So but we know it's going to be a big occasion. There's going to be a huge amount of emotion from both teams. We need to make sure that we perform a lot better than we did last week.
How can you negate that emotion that Ireland will have St Patrick's Day weekend, the crowd, the Grand Slam, all of that? How can you prevent that working in their favour?
Well, we have to play well enough to control the game as well as we can and try and keep the crowd as quiet as possible. We'll see how easy that is and how realistic that is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. But we have to play well enough to make sure we're well in the competition for the game. We've come here to win the game. We'll see how realistic that is tomorrow when we get on the field. But we've worked hard this week. We know last week's performance wasn't acceptable and good enough from this team, and we're better than that. And we have to make sure that we bring that tomorrow. France
were physically on top at Twickenham. Is there a point to prove? Did that hurt some of the guys?
Definitely. But we started poorly. We never really recovered, and that was the key. It wasn't the plan. But as we know, when the bullets start firing, sometimes plans go out the window, and we didn't react well enough, and we didn't adjust, and effectively we got what we deserved. So we have to make sure that doesn't happen tomorrow.
Henry Arundel, I know it's not your area of expertise in terms of coaching, but what have you made of him and the impact he's made?
Well, I think you saw from the summer, he's given, well, not even time and space. He's exceptionally quick. He can finish and he can score something from nothing. So we saw that in Australia last summer in the first test when he came on, and his opportunity to start a game and in a white hot atmosphere and part of international development. But also we think he's ready to come in and make a difference.
Has he got a big future?
Yeah, 100% he has. We haven't got players with that out-and-out pace. He's a real finisher, and we've seen that at his club, and we've seen that at test level in parts. So hopefully we'll see it tomorrow.
Thanks, James.
Richard, have you got any experiences from your extensive coaching career where you've had a heavy defeat and you've managed to recover the next week?
Oh, certainly at club level you have that reaction. I'm not sure we were playing second best in the world and then the best team in the world on a consecutive week, so it's a challenge to bounce back from the game last week against the second ranked team to come to the home of the best team in the world at this point in time. So we've got it all to do. We're under no illusions. We've got it all to prove to ourselves and make sure we put in a performance that creates issues for Ireland. And like I say, there's no reason why we can't win tomorrow, but we're going to have to be exceptionally good at what we do.
I imagine it's quite hard to kind of manufacture belief and confidence. How would you go about getting belief and confidence in a group that might struggle for it?
Get back on the training pitch, work hard, make sure we're really clear on what we expect, and they know that. Steve's very clear on that. And then we have to go and do it, and it's as simple as that.
Richard, there's been a lot of talk this week after the result last week about fighting and proving a point to yourselves maybe. What does that actually look like on the field? What should we see from the England team on Saturday that will prove that they've got that back?
Well, we have to have a big start. We have to make sure our set piece is very good. We have to defend and fight for every scrap of ball, whether we have the ball or whether we don't have the ball. We've got to make our effort and our energy and our passion to be in the battle the whole time. Has to be evident from everybody sat in the stadium, and the players will bring that, I've no doubt.
Can I ask you too about Dan Cole when he comes on? He'll win his 100th cap ring, and obviously coached him a lot at the club. Do you remember your first memories of him and what he was like as a younger man?
Oh, he's a young man that worked really hard at his game. Learned from some great guys that played in front of him at Leicester at the time. In Julian White and Martin Castrogiovanni, and Coley worked really hard to get in front of those guys, and he did. I'm very proud of what he's done to play that many games for his club and to play hopefully his 100th test tomorrow. It's a testament to one, how good a player he is, and his resilience to stay in the game long enough to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say on the resilience note, obviously being dropped out of the team for a few years and then fighting back and not accepting it, that shows a lot about the guy, I can imagine.
Yeah, look, he's gone back to his club and he's played really well for them. He's been probably one of the form tight ends in the Premiership, certainly at set piece. So to get the opportunity to come back into the squad, you probably wouldn't want the World Cup final to be your last game, would you, if you call it? So he's worked really hard to earn the opportunity to come back into the squad, we'd love to celebrate his 100th cap with a proper performance.
He's not the sort of bloke to make a fuss of himself, or other people make a fuss of him?
We will make a fuss of him tomorrow, and rightly so. He's almost embarrassed for it to be mentioned, which is probably the sign of the fella. So no, he's a wonderful player, a wonderful man, and to play tight head for that many games, certainly for the club. He's 350 plus games for his club, 100 caps for his country in that position. That takes some doing.
Richard, it's your last match with England tomorrow when we reach France. What kind of state do you think you're leaving the team in? How optimistic are you about it?
Yeah, I'm always optimistic that we can get better. The situation we're in is because it's been changed very late in a 4-year cycle. So look, Steve's a fantastic coach and he's going to rebuild this team. We've certainly taken some pain in the last 7 days, but that happens. How we deal with that and how we recover from that shows the character of the group we have. So we've got some fantastic players in this team. There's some guys in this team that will come into this team if they were fit, and there's a lot of young guys coming through the age groups. So look, there's a huge amount of optimism within this group that we can improve and get better. At the moment, we struggled last week. Ultimately, you get what you deserve in the game, and we got what we deserved in the end, because that's how we performed. I don't think the previous 3 games were like that. So we've got to make sure we turn up tomorrow and do what we need to do to make sure that we're in the game and competing to win.
How much fuel does winning pride give a professional worker?
Yeah, a fair bit of fuel, but it only lasts a little while. We've got to do that consistently. Look, Ireland will be very confident. They're a wonderful team. They've got great players. They've been together a long time. But we need to, as a bare minimum, we need to show how much we care about playing for this team, and it needs to be evident from our action on the field.
How much, from England's point of view, is it a case of keeping in nerve? A couple of weeks ago, you got the biggest win in Cardiff in a number of years, and then you obviously had a very, very bad day.
Yeah.
How much is it a case of kind of just rediscovering the nerve and holding the nerve from the progress you've made before?
Yeah, look, stick to the plan. Make sure we stick to the plan, believe in it. And when ultimately when it comes down to it, it's man v man, and we've got to want it as much as our opposite number.
Okay, there's nothing else?
I'll just check the admin thing if everyone's fit and ready to go.
Yes, all good.
Great stuff. Thanks.
Is that the cargo section or no?
No, just live for
Can I
you
ask
to
one
do.
question if
Yeah.
I may? Sorry. Richard, thanks. In terms of, is this match partly really about getting your players fired up to, outside of systems, defensive systems, whatever, getting them fired up to crash into tackles or to, as you mentioned, one-on-one battles? Is that partly what it's about after last week?
Certainly after last week, I don't think we've ever had an issue with that in the previous 3 games. And like I say, we weren't as combative as we should have been last week for whatever reason. Our players should be motivated. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, push comes to shove, you've got to be as physical or more physical than the opponents. When that moment comes, we have to front up and do that, which we have done, and I'm sure we will tomorrow. And we have to be tactically smart. Our set piece has to be good. We have to have the look of the Irish behind us.